Are you finding it hard to set boundaries to other people in your life, and it's therefore impacting on your self-esteem and your confidence? Well, today I'm going to talk about this and how you can be more effective with this in some simple strategies. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra bonus point for you then. Now, for me, I've had challenges both in my school life, going through university, and in the workplace. At school, I used to be, well, I've had a lifelong challenge with people pleasing, and that can really impact you because you're trying to get validation from other people to feel good. You don't want to upset them because you don't feel so good about yourself underneath. And it's only something even in the last year or so that I've really had to work hard through. And it can be challenging if you like other people feeling good. Now, there's a line between that and people pleasing. Yeah, I had a lot of early experiences when it was a real problem. And at school, I said yes to everyone. Hey, and I remember one instance, a couple of kids, and I thought it was pretty harmless, were asking, "Can you take my PE kit home with you and wash it?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, friend," and stuff like that. And I thought it was pretty harmless. And then my parents found it, and then they were really upset with me, and they told me I was, you know, they were right. I was kind of being a bit of a mug. Um, and I got really upset by that, and I got really miserable got upset by their comments. And yeah, I remember that memory. I remember being in work and just saying yes to so many favors, and I didn't want to upset anyone. And I had like minimal boundaries, if any, in these cases, that I didn't know like how to say no, and I really struggled, and that people pleasing was such an issue, right? Now I can quite comfortably say no to quite a lot of things. Now, sometimes I'm being a bit more generous and I need to call myself out for it, but generally I know when to say no. Like, I've been ill recently, and people are, oh, I've had to move some podcast interviews, I have to move some calls. You know, I've been honest with the people. But like, if I'm looking after myself, I want to look after myself so I can be my best, and I need to be my best. Rather, I want to be my best and show up for this podcast, for example. So it used to be a challenge. Now we want to please others, because we're not getting validation for ourselves, like I said. Now, how's it helping you by not being clear on your boundaries and perhaps others impacting you on what you don't want? Well, you don't want to stand for it anymore, I'm sure, or you want to put some boundaries in place so you feel better in life. So let's go through some points here that really help me move through this. So the first one, be clear on your non-negotiables each day for yourself. What are you going to do for you every single day? Right? And be very clear on that. Do you want to go for a walk every day? I love going for a walk. Like, I go for a walk every day. I go for a walk in nature. Like, if you want to do that and then you don't put in that's a clear intention for the day, that's something clear, that's a non-negotiable that you really want to do, and you get busy by other people's agendas and you don't do it, well, that's not going to make you feel very good. So you've got to be clear on your non-negotiables. And this also includes actually what you say no to as well. Like, if there's something you keep getting asked to do and you really don't want to do it, put it on your list. Get it down on paper. What the things you really want to do and what the things that are an absolute no. Now, obviously, be realistic. Maybe if you're working in a career and there's some things you don't like, but you got to do, you can't really put that on the no list. But there may be some things that you really don't want to do and you can put them on the no list. So just write a few like things that are non-negotiables that you really want to do each day. And it's really important you do them for your own benefit, that you love doing. Be really honest what they are for you, not what someone else wants to do. And then what are the things that are like a no that you really are going to say no to? Got to get them down on paper and then recap them every day. The next one, review each week what you said yes and no to. When you become more self-aware, you start reflecting on it, you start journaling, that's when your behaviors change because you become aware. So start reviewing on where actually your time was spent each week, what actually you did, what went well, what was going well, and actually where was time wasted because maybe you're doing things you don't want to do. So that's the second one. The first one's writing down your boundaries, and your second one's actually evaluating it. And actually the second one can start to feed the first one. Because if you start noticing, oh, I'm doing too much of that and I really don't want to do that and I don't have to do it, then maybe that becomes part of your list of what you don't want to do. And then the third one, just remind yourself that you cannot be your best for you, for your friends, for your family, if you're saying yes to everything, because you're going to be exhausted, you're going to be tired. It's not going to be a good quality of life. So keep reminding yourself of that fact as well. Now, I've got a bonus point for you as well. And what this is to really create more confidence in yourself by changing your physiology. So I want you to Google, I've mentioned it on the podcast before, maybe you've not heard this, but it's really important to say, is do the Wonder Woman pose or the Superman pose, the power pose. And what you do is you stand in, Google the pose, we'll go on Amy Cuddy's TED talk about this, the Wonder Woman pose. And you stand with your hands on your hips and you do it for 3 minutes. And what that's going to do is boost high level of dopamine, a feel-good chemical. You're going to start feeling more confident within yourself. So if you do that a few times a day, that will start to boost your confidence naturally. So actually, your confidence starts coming from your physiology and you're more able to say no as a result. Now, if you want to go in and tell someone something and like be very clear on your boundaries, or maybe they've overstepped them, I would suggest doing this pose just before then as well. Now, obviously, you've actually got to do it, but this pose is just going to add a little bit more confidence to that. So that's what I got for you today on setting boundaries. I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people's lives for being the best you. And remember, you're in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.